Yes, students, good morning. Let's start with PT3 session, and I welcome you for this PT3 session again. And I hope that now you will be serious and working and putting your full efforts for your examination and preparing yourself in a proper way. But before we move for PT3 syllabus, let me discuss with you the question paper of PT2 which you have appeared and the problems which you have caused in that. You must understand what problems were there in the paper, what mistakes you have done in general, and it should not be repeated next time. You can see on the screen the question paper in which you were having first comprehension passage, and that was in MCQ part. And I told you while doing the comprehension passage, you must read the passage carefully and properly. Then read the questions carefully. Some students have done it very well, but some students have committed the mistakes. You are getting confused between the options. So for the MCQ part, this is the tricky thing only, that many times you are getting the answers which are very closer to each other, and you have to find out the appropriate and the correct answer out of those options. So if we go for the options of the first question based on the passage, the dancing girl belongs to Mohenjo-daro. That was almost right for all students. Then in the B part, in the museum, she has been kept among bronze statues. B option was correct. Then in the C part, which information is not given in the passage? She cannot be rediscovered as she is bronze. The fourth option was correct. Great art has power because it appeals to us despite a passage of time. Means our great art has that much power कि चाहे जितना मर्जी टाइम बीत जाए लेकिन उसका हमारे पे impression, appeal, उसका effect जो है हमारे पे रहता है. So this first option was correct. Then in the E part, where the students got confused and they had committed the mistakes here, the jewelry she wears. First option was consists of only bangles of shell or ivory or thin metal. Second is a necklace with two pendants. Third option was both 1 and 2 are correct. And fourth one was neither 1 nor 2 is correct. Here the students got confused between first and second, and you have given the answer third one, that both 1 and 2 are correct. It would be correct if in the first option only word is not given, consists of only bangles of shell or ivory, कि सिर्फ वो उसकी ज्वेलरी जो थी वो बैंगल्स नहीं थी, पेंडेंट भी था, लेकिन फर्स्ट में ओनली वर्ड यूज करने से it has become confusing. So you have to read the paragraph carefully to find out clear these type of confusions. So here the last option, neither 1 nor 2 is correct. This was the right option. Then in question number, next part, that is F part, in that you are having, she reminds us of the never say die attitude of humans. सो व्हाट डज इट टेल कि उसको जब हम इसकी स्टोरी को पढ़ते हैं, ये पैसेज को पढ़ने के बाद आपको उस डांसिंग गर्ल के बारे में पता चलता है, तो ये एक किस चीज़ के लिए हमें मैसेज देती है? द नेवर से डाई एटीट्यूड ऑफ ह्यूमंस, कि हमें कभी भी एटीट्यूड जो है वो अपना पैसिव नहीं लेना चाहिए, डिप्रेसिंग फॉर्म में, नेगेटिव वे में नहीं लेना चाहिए. Second option was also confusing here. Many students have given the answer why museums in our country are exciting, because this is a line used in the passage, but the effect is experience or the impact that a work of art leaves on our senses. Then the next option, the synonyms of word among in para 1 is amid, not also. Here also some students have written wrong. The size next H part, the size of the dancing girl is equal to the length of human palm. It is true. Then I part, give the meaning of the word undaunted, given in para 4. Here it was discouraged by difficulty, first option. Then the last one, what is the meaning of artifact in para 1? That was an object made by human beings. So be careful whenever you are given the meanings or the antonyms or the synonyms from the passage given with the paragraph, it should be according to the meaning used in that passage, according to the context of that passage, not any other meaning. Sometimes some words have 2 meanings, 3 meanings, but you have to take the meaning given in the context of that passage. Now, coming to question number 2, which you have attempted for the first time, it was a new thing for you, and what problem you have caused. It was very much clearly mentioned in the topic that the table is showing you the annual increase in the number of vehicles in major Indian cities. And the table shows the names of the cities in descending order of population. You people have done the data interpretation very well. You have given the comparison also, but some students have missed to link it with the population. And the main problem which I found in your writing this data interpretation paragraph is that you have not given your views at the end. It is must to end and conclude the paragraph. Analytical paragraph means you have to make the analysis according to that survey or the interpretation or the data, whatever is given to you, that you must give your opinion, your views, that what problem is being put forward and how that can be solved. So here you have to link it with the problem of increasing the vehicles, the private vehicles, two-wheelers and cars and jeeps. That means all people want to have their individual own vehicle. And when so many people are coming on the roads, it is causing so many problems, causing the problem of pollution, traffic jam, accidents, and then automatically it is affecting the health. So you have to bring an ending conclusion relating to the problem of this survey is telling us, what this survey is telling us, that it can cause problem when the population is less in an area and the number of private vehicles are increasing. That means all people have their own vehicle, and when all people will come on the roads, so it is automatically that the problems will be there of traffic jam, accident, and other type of problems for the pollution, which can cause the health problems. So you have to end with the views that from this data we come to know that there is a problem of traffic and we need to find out some solution for that. It's a need of the hour. So give your views always at the end of the analytical paragraph after interpreting the data. Then in the grammar part, I think it was almost clear. I have sent you the answer keys also. If you have any problem in understanding, you must ask at the end. Okay. First gap filling was on the basis of the preposition, where second option 2 is correct. Then second was models based on last option can was correct. Then in the third, it was based on the tenses. First option is correct. In D part, it was conditional sentences, and it is the third pattern of the conditional given. Had been, past perfect was used, so you have to fill in the blank, would have helped. And next option, it was subject verb agreement. Each of the boys will take singular verb was. Some students have taken will or would. You must understand that when we use will or would in the passive form, it take the helping verb be, which is not used here. Be given a prize. अगर will or would होता तो be use किया जाना था. So only third form is used. That means past indefinite passive form is there. Then coming to the next part, that is based on your reported speech, the last sentence was having, which color do you like the most? Reported speech question number 4, here also you have committed again mistakes here. The options were there. And very clearly, you must understand about the rules that how you are going to change. In the first option, Rashmi told Renu that she had invited 4 friends for dinner. Present perfect changes into past perfect. Second option, then Renu said that she would also call her friends. Will changes into would. Persons, first person changes with the subject, and we have changed it into she. Then third was when Renu asked what they should serve them for dinner. Here the sentence was in the question form and it is to be changed in the simple form. So we have taken subject they first and then helping verb should, and modals are always followed by the first form of the verb serve. So no change in the main verb serve. So the first option, what they should serve them for dinner, is correct. Then coming to the last sentence, we can serve them Chinese food. Rashmi replied that they could serve them Chinese food. So we change into plural form of the third person, can changes into could. Now coming to the literature part, here I think every answer is very much clear and you have also attempted it properly. From the lines of the poem, options are there. You can match your answers with the answer key already sent to you. Then in the second part, that was an extract from your chapter, The Black Aeroplane. What problem you have caused here is in the first question, you did not read the lines properly. Some students have marked the A option. He did not want to meet his family. Not word up, ध्यान से नहीं पढ़ रहे हो. The correct option was C. He did not want to miss the breakfast. Second was, what risk did the pilot take? That was D option, flying his old Dakota straight into storm. In the third part, the pilot was flying from France to England. C option, France. आपने देखा शुरू के चैप्टर में मेंशन किया गया कि पेरिस से स्टार्ट करता है, तो पेरिस is in France. Then about the author of the chapter, The Black Aeroplane, Frederick Forsyth, that is B part. Then line is given to you from the extract. They looked like black mountains standing in front of me across the sky. What looked like black mountains? Black mountains kisko refer kiya gaya? That you have to find, and that was B option, storm clouds. Now coming to the subjective part, that is your questions from your textbooks. I clearly told you in the classes that you will have 2 types of questions, 2 marks questions in 20 to 30 words and 3 marks questions in 40 to 50 words. And accordingly, you have to answer. Always try to follow the word limit. Don't write too much, exceed mat kar dijiye. 100 se bhi upar kuch words likh rahe hain bachche students, and some have written only 1 or 2 lines. That is also not sufficient. I've sent you the answer key. You must note down the point. In the first question, there were 3 points which you have to mention. And if you have missed 1 point, your half mark is deducted. And again, it is divided, bifurcated. The marks are divided into content part and expression. Expression means your accuracy of the grammar, spellings, and coherence of the lines and sentence structure. Everything is counted in that. So accordingly, 3 points were there. One, she did not celebrate her birthday when her grandmother was ill. That shows her feeling of love and attachment for her grandmother. Second point was, she celebrated her birthday after the death of her grandmother and she lit an extra candle to pay her tribute. Then the third was her own statement, which she gives in the diary, that the intensity of love which she had for her grandmother, no one knows about that. So all these 3 points prove that she had great feeling of love for her grandmother. Then in the second question, the main idea of the poem, you have to mention about the symbolic and the metaphorical meaning of the words fire and ice used by the poet. That fire refers to passions and desires and ice refers to the coldness, indifference that we have towards each other. And if these two things keep on increasing, the world will come to an end. And what is the idea or the message the poet wants to convey? That we should have good relations with each other. We should not have fire. That means the desires, passions too much that we are not able to fulfill and then go to depression. And in the same way, ice indifference towards others, not concerning about others. We should have good relation with others. Otherwise, this world will come to an end, because human relations are coming to the worst situation nowadays due to the money or due to the desires and the passions. So the poet wants to convey this message, that we should have feeling of mutual harmony, brotherhood, love towards each other. Otherwise, this world will come to an end. Then the third question was, Griffin was rather a lawless person. Here you have to explain very clearly what acts as a lawless person, which were illegal, he had committed according to the story. That he was a very brilliant scientist, but still he did many illegal activities. That's why he was considered as a lawless person. He set fire to his landlord's house. He stole the money from the clergyman's house. Then he stole the things from the theatrical company, entered into the London store, becoming invisible, and had the pleasure of clothing and feeding himself without any expenses. Then he even threw or attacked on the landlady, Mrs. Hall, and her husband. And then she also even struggled with the police constable who was on duty. So all these are illegal actions which he had done. That's why he was considered as a lawless person, though a brilliant scientist. But he did not use his discovery for the welfare and for the good of the humanity. He used it for the wrong purposes. Then in the last question, two parts were given of the question. How can you say that Maddie is an emotional girl? Here, many students have explained very well in the first part, but this topic or the character relates to two chapters. You have part one and part two. Some students have not linked it with part two. When she went to meet Brenda and she could not find her, she was so upset that she could not even sleep for nights. And at the end, when the teacher offered those dresses which Venda had prepared, that it should be given as a gift to Maddie and Peggy, at that time also she became very emotional. And when she looked at the picture and looked at that drawing carefully, she noticed that she had drawn her own face, the face of Maddie in that. And then also she started crying. That also shows her emotional nature. Some students have missed this part of the second chapter, chapter 6, because this chapter was divided into two parts. The second chapter you have not linked it. Then the second part was given compare and contrast of both the characters, Maddie and Peggy. You have to give the comparison of both the characters in the separate paragraph, because it was the second part of the question. If you don't compare and contrast in general you have written in the first part, that will not be considered. So read the question carefully. If it is divided into two parts, you should also mention it in two parts, in two paragraphs. So otherwise, first part was okay for many of the students. The second part, some students have missed, and they have not linked the second chapter also with this characteristic of Maddie, that she was an emotional girl. So in this way, you have committed general problems, whatever the mistakes you have done, and be careful while writing. Follow the word limit. Take care of the tense while writing. Try to write in the same tense in which the question is given to you. If you start with the present, you can add any incident or anything of the past in the past tense also. But if you start with past, then you cannot add the lines in present. So adhere to the rules of the reported speech. यहाँ reported speech के rules mind में लाओ कि when you use in the reporting verb present tense, you can add any tense in the second clause, and if you use past tense in the reporting verb, you have to use past tense in the reported speech also. So be careful for the tenses. Here you get your marks deducted if you mix the tenses and if you don't use the proper tenses. Otherwise, it was a good attempt. So no problem. Next time, whatever the weak points are there, work on that and cover up your weaknesses and do your best in the next PT3 examination. Clear? So I hope now the question paper is clear. If you have any problem or any doubts, you can ask your questions, and we will start with PT3 syllabus after this. Thank you.